Hey, hello, good morning. How are you? My name is Enrique Palafox. I'm here with Dacre Stoker. Dacre, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Enrique. How are you doing? Everything okay in Mexico?
Everything is fine. Thank you for asking. This is our 17th week. How do you feel about
Yes.
this week? It was kind of slow, but it was very important for the foundations of what's happening.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good term, the foundation, because what we establish in these few entries is the connection between the big three: Renfield, Dracula, Lucy. Obviously Seward is mentioned, Mina, but when it comes to the effect of Dracula on Lucy and on Renfield, we get more clarity as
Mhm.
these postings progress. The other thing I will tell you, as you know, August 23rd, when this started, was my birthday. So whenever I
Happy
see this in the
birthday.
book, August 23, and it starts with the unexpected always happens. And it's funny, that Bram Stoker would put that in. Expect the unexpected is sort of something that's also been important in my life. I like to be very well prepared, but here in Dracula, as well prepared as Dr. Seward is to try to figure out what to do with Renfield, you've got to expect the unexpected because what's going on, folks, the supernatural is at play.
Okay, let me translate this for our audience in Spanish. Bienvenidos, nuestra semana 17 ya fue una semana pequeña, pero que tiene unos fundamentos importantes para la novela. Fue cumpleaños de Dacre el día 23, entonces le deseamos muy feliz cumpleaños. Y precisamente ese día, pasan cosas inesperadas, y ahí es algo muy interesante porque la frase es, espera siempre lo inesperado, ¿no? Con Drácula espera siempre lo inesperado con Renfield, y bueno, pues eso fue lo que sucedió esta semana, ¿no? Renfield, lo inesperado totalmente, ¿no? Renfield he has such a week because he was unleashed, but then he was so constrained by himself and by the guards, and this is like a roller coaster.
It is. It was a roller coaster. That's a very good analogy. And what I like to do is try to analyze the the causes to what makes them go up and what makes them come down. And if you read this very, very closely, which is sort of an interesting commentary, Dr. Seward is very sensitive to Renfield. And so it shows he's a good doctor, he's a good psychiatrist, and he's trying to figure out what causes this, obviously to get to the root of his craziness. But as we begin to see, it's there's something affecting his soul that obviously we begin to see in this chapter. It's affecting Lucy as well. So I just want to read this because it's also tells about Bram Stoker, who, if you remember earlier, we talked about the great sympathy that Bram's mother had when she wrote this paper about how to judge if somebody is criminally insane and how
Yes.
you deal with people who are, locked up in prisons because they're insane. And it says, the poor soul's body will enjoy the relief, even if his mind cannot appreciate it. So they've had to constrain him and hold him from hurting himself and other people, put him in the padded cell, but they're still concerned about his poor soul. They know there's some goodness there. Something is affecting it. Hark, the unexpected again. The unexpected is what the chapter started with. And it was, if you do not expect the unexpected, you will not find it. And this comes from a philosopher, a Greek philosopher, I believe, from the 1500s that Bram is quoting. So he's using some of this interesting philosophy to sort of put into Seward's mind, if you don't expect the unexpected, you'll never find it. So it's saying we need to look for what's totally unexpected, which, as we said, is supernatural, which is not something Seward has figured out yet. His modern science, and that's part of this whole story, is without faith and believing in other things, science will not answer the questions. You must look for the unexpected, even though science won't explain it.
Yeah, that's a good one. Aquí vemos en esta semana un detalle sumamente interesante porque otra vez vemos toda la influencia de la vida personal de Bram Stoker, incluido en la novela. Recordemos que su madre hizo estos retratos y estas descripciones de las personas a través de su fisiología, y eso lo hizo con mucho cuidado. Ese mismo cuidado se ve reflejado con el doctor Seward, ¿no? Atendiendo a Renfield, que bueno, cada vez más empieza a perder la locura, empieza a perder la sanidad, perdón, y bueno, y a pesar de que lo meten ya a las celdas, ¿no? Estas con acoginadas, ¿no? Aquí vemos al doctor Seward, que como dice Dacre, es un buen médico. Él es un doctor que sí está preocupado por su paciente, sí tiene ese cuidado, que ahí es la parte de la madre, ¿no? Ahí se ve muy reflejado, ¿no? Pero por el otro lado, pues quiere saber la verdad. Y bueno, pues todavía no sabe que se le viene algo sobrenatural. Entonces, él está un poco cegado por su ciencia, entonces no alcanza a ver el lado sobrenatural y precisamente espera lo inesperado, quiere decir pues que también puede haber un coletazo por ahí de lo sobrenatural y no todo tiene que tener una explicación. Okay.
All right, so now I'm going to give you a secret, and I want you, Enrique, to interpret what you think this means.
Yeah.
Because remember I told you that I'm working on an annotated Dracula with Robert 18 Pisang.
Yeah.
And I had access to the typescript, the Dracula typescript owned by Paul Allen's estate.
Wow.
And we're able to see what Bram had put into the typescript but crossed out at the very last minute. And one of these things he's crossed out is in these posts. And it's right after Renfield escapes from his cell and pushes his way past the attendant. And Seward gets notice of this and has to get involved in running after him. But he said, I took my pistol and sent word for the attendants to follow. Had not the attendants seized him in time, he could have killed me, or I would have shot him in self-defense.
Wow.
Any reference to the gun is taken out. No mention of a pistol, and certainly no mention. What was taken out was he would have killed me or I would have shot him in self-defense. So it's not major plot mystery that is uncovered here, but Bram decides not to say that the scientist, that the doctor would have shot Renfield. That's not a factor. The only guy in the story that has a gun at this stage, is Quincy Morris, the American, who takes a shot at the bat later on.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Why do you think Bram Stoker may have initially had Seward armed with a gun, but then decided, no, that's not appropriate for the story?
At first glance, it seems like a trivial information, but if you really think about it, if you take that off, you maintain Seward as a caring doctor for one instance. On the other hand, I'm a fan of Batman, and it's a really discussion if Batman can kill a man or not. Definitely Seward in that position will need to take a stand, and maybe he will has to defend himself. But taking it from the novel, it maintains him like like pure, like this level of he cares about Renfield.
Yeah, and maybe he's got to match his wits rather than his power. Now we do know that he has no problem giving some medicine to subdue him, but they don't do it here. And what's interesting, Bram takes this out, and then in the next paragraph, he talks about this roller coaster again, where he suddenly redoubled his efforts, and then he suddenly grew calm. I looked around instinctively, but could see nothing. Then I caught the patient's eye, but could trace nothing as it looked in the moonlight sky except a big bat.
The bat. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, the presence
is flapping its wings silently and ghostly as it went to the west. Now, you and I know, because we've read this story many times, where this bat is going. But as it stands now, it's a hint that, oh, Renfield's relaxed. The bat is gone. This is Dracula, but he's gone somewhere else, which we'll see in a moment.
Yeah, that is amazing the information. Let me translate this. Pasa muy importante porque Dacre está trabajando junto con otro autor en una edición anotada de Drácula. Esto es, que están revisando cosas muy importantes y aportando conocimiento nuevo a lo que se sabe de Drácula. Entonces, tuvo acceso al manuscrito original de Bram Stoker, y entonces revisándolo, precisamente en esta parte, se da cuenta que hay una parte que se quitó de último de la novela, que tiene que ver con que una lucha, cuando Renfield se escapa, ¿no?, de estos momentos de montaña rusa que tiene, ¿no?, donde a veces se vuelve loco y a veces está muy tranquilo. En esos momentos donde se vuelve loco y sale corriendo, hay una mención donde el doctor Seward dice que él traía una pistola y que en algún momento ellos luchan, tanto Renfield como Seward, y que estuvo a punto de dispararle con la pistola Seward. Sin embargo, eso fue quitado. Y entonces me pregunta Dacre que bueno, cuál era mi opinión al respecto. Y yo lo que le digo es que a mí me parece que es una cuestión de editorial muy interesante, porque mantiene a Seward puro, ¿no? Como en este discurso que tiene Batman, ¿no? Un poco donde si Batman puede matar a alguien o no. Bueno, pues en este caso, si lo quitas, se mantiene Seward puro y se mantiene como este personaje que se preocupa por su paciente. Y por el otro lado, Dacre dice que, bueno, el otro personaje y único personaje que hasta la novela va a tener armas de fuego va a ser Quincy Morris, ¿no? El gran tejano que está inspirado, ya sabíamos de dónde, y que es el único que después va a estar disparándole a este vampiro que evidentemente tiene una influencia total en Renfield, ¿no? Cuando se va el vampiro, Renfield regresa a la calma y se tranquiliza. Y ahí es donde estamos.
So while this is happening, we now understand that Lucy has come back from Whitby. She's at her place in Hillingham, which is the family's estate. And we wonder, oh, is she safe here? She's away from Whitby when she had her first encounter with Count Dracula. But now, unfortunately, we realize, no, she's not so lucky, that something is going on. And we get the hint as the bat is calm and flying away from Purfleet, it's making its way, obviously, to Lucy once again, because she starts complaining of her bad dreams again. Now, bad dreams, as I've said before, is a major theme in this story. And I believe Bram Stoker, as a man, experienced many bad dreams. And if you go and research what the Victorians think about dreams, you could fill an encyclopedia. It's very Freudian. It could be alien. It's some, of your repressed feelings. Mm-hmm. But the bottom line is, in the dreams in this story, the possibility is raised that something other is coming into your brain, coming into your soul, and taking some degree of control. And this is what we find out is happening here with Lucy. She says, I've had another bad night, it was very strange. I don't quite understand it. I wish I could remember my dreams. She also talks about she heard flapping at the window. some scratching, but it wasn't all bad. Now that's strange, Enrique, don't you think? Why does she say it wasn't all bad? She seems to be going through maybe a conversion that as she is, that she's now becoming closer and one with Dracula, because the bat at the window would normally scare the heck out of people, but no, it wasn't all bad.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And then she go ahead. Yeah.
No.
What do you think? Yeah.
No, my point is, again, as you just mentioned it, vampirism in Bram Stoker's mind is a possession thing. It's not how it's being portrayed like a virus who is transmitted from one carrier to another. And it is not the romantic thing. This is possession in all aspects. I mean, and Lucy, in some point, is willing to go in that direction. She's accepting of her condition and the willingness of going into the dark path.
That's a very good point. I'm glad you brought that up about the possession, because we have to keep reminding people this was the novel, maybe not the very first one, but it was the novel that put this together and made people understand about vampirism and possession. And again, Bram didn't just make this up. He had all this in the books in the London Library. Dr. Mayo, for instance, and Charles Lee. So this I think this is what's going on, but at the very end of this piece, she actually goes back to the physical. She mentions the mental side, the subconscious side, where it's okay, but she says, this morning I'm horribly weak. My face is ghastly pale, that means the blood's coming out, and my throat pains me. It must be something wrong with my lungs, and I don't even seem to get enough air. I shall try to cheer up when Arthur comes. So it's now beginning to manifest, not just in the brain possession, but physically she is changing.
Ya, okay. Aquí el otro punto que es interesante que vimos en la semana es un poco la caída de Lucy y ya cuesta abajo, porque por un momento pensábamos que Lucy, al salir de Whitby, mudarse a Londres, estaría ya segura, ¿no? Porque, bueno, ya se aleja el conde Drácula, pero no, lo que vemos es que, al contrario, se pone todavía peor. Entonces, aquí vemos un reflejo de ella, ¿no? Y en esta aceptación a entregarse a este control que se viene dando. Ella ya deja de tener miedo al murciélago en la ventana, ¿no? Y dice, no está tan mal, y lo empieza a aceptar. Y lo que platicábamos es que Bram Stoker, en muchos sentidos, al ser un pacto faustiano, al ser Drácula, el demonio, al ser un diablo, para Bram Stoker el vampirismo es una cuestión de posesión. Entonces aquí es la maldad encarnada, y bueno, como Lucy termina por aceptarlo, ¿no? Aceptar esta condición, y empieza a caminar voluntariamente por allá. Sin embargo, bueno, pues tiene también este conflicto con lo material, con su cuerpo, con su vida, ¿no? Y ella sufre mucho, ¿no? Escribe acerca de las pesadillas que ya sabíamos que Bram ha tenido a lo largo de su vida, que fueron tan poderosas y que, bueno, pues tiene una influencia total. Aquí lo vemos en Lucy, ese temor, ¿no? Por estos sueños, y cómo empieza ella ya a cambiar.
The story, the chapter ends with a very interesting little piece that I think is worth of a mention. As we have just said, Lucy is transforming into a monster. Mm-hmm. Vampirism has possessed her. She's moving into that. But she still maintains this certain degree of humanity. As she says, I shall try to cheer up when Arthur comes, or else I know he will be miserable to see me. So the writer, Bram, is trying to make sure she still maintains a degree of sympathy from her readers. We're sympathetic with this poor girl because she's got human feelings that her fiance is going to think poorly of her. She's worried about her mother who's not feeling well, and she's trying to hold off. Oh, I'll be fine after. Everything will be okay. But no, we know differently. She is transforming, and she's ill. But that's an interesting tactic of Bram. We still feel for her, at this time, and we will right to the very end.
Ok, finalmente, ya para cerrar el capítulo, lo que vemos es una intención de Bram de generar mucha empatía por el personaje de Lucy, no nada más que se vaya al lado oscuro, sino realmente la pone como alguien que sigue teniendo muchos sentimientos y sigue sufriendo. Entonces, eso es importante para que nosotros como lectores tengamos un fuerte attachment a ella, ¿no? Okay.
So that's it. We'll see you guys next week, and we'll see what goes on, where the bat's flying to, how Lucy does, and what our friend Renfield and Seward are up to.
Wonderful. It was a wonderful. Dacre, thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Have a nice one. Bye-bye.